There is a ghost haunting you. It is not a spirit from the Victorian era, rattling chains in the attic. It is not a monster from a horror movie hiding under your bed. This ghost is far more terrifying because it looks exactly like you, but it is not you. It is the version of you that actually took the shot. It is the version of you that bought the asset when everyone else was selling. It is the version of you that quit the soul-sucking job to start the business. It is the version of you that walked up to the girl or the guy and said hello. This ghost is the accumulation of every risk you did not take, every opportunity you let slip through your fingers, and every time you chose safety over potential. My name is Brock, and today we are going to talk about the most brutal equation in the universe. We are going to talk about the math of regret. Most people think of regret as an emotion. They think it is a feeling, a sadness, a bit of nostalgia for what might have been. But I am here to tell you that regret is not an emotion. Regret is a mathematical variable. It is a calculation. It is the quantifiable difference between the outcome of the path you chose and the outcome of the path you were too afraid to take. And for most people, that difference is measured in the millions of dollars. We are biologically wired to misunderstand risk. In the Stone Age, Maya risk management was very simple. If the bushes rustled and you assumed it was the wind, but it was actually a tiger, you died. That is a type 1 error, a false negative. It is fatal. So, evolution taught us to be paranoid. Evolution taught us to assume every rustling bush is a tiger. Evolution taught us that the safest place to be is inside the cave, huddled together, doing exactly what everyone else is doing. But we do not live in the Stone Age anymore. We live in a world of asymmetric payoffs. We live in a financial environment where the rustling bush is almost never a tiger. Usually, the rustling bush is an opportunity, but your brain is still running the old software. Your brain is still screaming danger. Whenever you deviate from the herd, and this biological glitch is causing you to miscalculate the most important variable in your financial life, the cost of inaction. Let's look at the mathematics of safety. We are taught from a young age that the safe path is the smart path. Go to school, get good grades, get a stable job with benefits. Save 10% of your paycheck, retire at 65. This is the script. And on the surface, it looks like a low-risk strategy. The downside seems capped. You probably won't starve. You probably won't be homeless. But in finance, we have a concept called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the invisible price tag on everything you don't do when you choose the safe salary of $60,000 a year. You are not just choosing $60,000, you are explicitly rejecting the possibility of making $600,000 or $6 million. You are selling your unlimited upside in exchange for a capped downside. Let's run the numbers on a classic scenario. Let's say you have $10,000. You have two choices. Choice A is to put it in a high-yield savings account earning 5%. In 1 year, you have $10,500. It is safe, it is guaranteed, you feel good. Choice B is to invest it in a volatile asset, maybe a startup, maybe a crypto asset, maybe a new skill that could double your income. Let's say this investment is risky. Let's say there is a 50% chance it goes to zero. You lose everything. But there is also a 50% chance it does a 10x. It returns 10 times your money. Most people look at choice B and run away. They focus entirely on the loss. They say, I can't afford to lose $10,000. Their brain sees the tiger. But let's look at the expected value, or EV. Expected value is the sum of all possible outcomes multiplied by their probability. In choice A, the EV is $10,500. In choice B, the math looks like this. 50% chance of $0 plus 50% chance of $100,000. 0 plus 50,000 equals $50,000. The expected value of the risky bet is nearly 5 times higher than the safe bet. By choosing the safety of the savings account, you are mathematically paying a tax of $39,500. You are paying a premium for certainty. And over the course of a lifetime, this premium compounds into a fortune. This brings us to the concept of asymmetric risk. The wealthy do not get wealthy by being lucky. They get wealthy by hunting for asymmetry. They look for bets where the downside is capped. I can only lose what I put in, but the upside is uncapped. I can make 10x, 100x, or 1000x. The employee has capped upside. No matter how hard you work, your salary is your salary. Maybe you get a 3% raise. Maybe you get a bonus, but you will never have a year where you make 50 times your salary. It is mathematically impossible. Your risk is low, but your regret potential is infinite. The entrepreneur or the investor lives in the world of uncapped upside. Yes, they might have a year where they make zero. They might have a year where they lose money, but they are positioned to catch the black swan, the massive positive event that changes their life forever. The safe life removes the black swan from your timeline entirely. You have mathematically eliminated the possibility of a miracle, and that is a tragedy. Now, let's talk about the two types of errors humans make. In statistics, we call them type 1 and type 2 errors. In life, we call them errors of commission and errors of omission. An error of commission is when you do something stupid and it hurts you. You buy a stock and it crashes. You start a business and it fails. You ask someone out and they reject you. These errors are painful. They sting. They are visible. Everyone sees them. Your ego takes a hit. An error of omission is when you do nothing and it hurts you. You don't buy the stock and it goes up 1,000%. You don't start the business and you watch your friend start it and become a millionaire. You don't ask the person out and they marry someone else. Here is the insidious thing about errors of omission. They are invisible. No one laughs at you for not starting a business. No one mocks you for not investing in Bitcoin in 2013. You don't lose money. In your bank account, when you miss an opportunity, the balance stays the same. But the math of regret tells us that errors of omission are infinitely more expensive than errors of commission. If you make an error of commission, say, you invest $5,000 in a bad idea and lose it. All your loss is capped at $5,000. You can earn that back. You can work a few extra shifts, sell some old furniture, and you are back to zero. The damage is finite. But if you make an error of omission, say, you pass on an investment that turns $5,000 into $5 million, your loss is not zero. Your loss is $4,995,000. You didn't lose the money out of your pocket, but you lost the net worth from your future. That is a ghost that will follow you to your grave. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, famously used a mental model called the Regret Minimization Framework. When he was thinking about quitting his high-paying safe job on Wall Street to start an online bookstore, everyone told him he was crazy. His boss took him for a walk in Central Park and said, "Jeff, this sounds like a good idea, but it would be a better idea for someone who didn't already have a good job." Bezos struggled with the decision. The math of the moment said stay. The risk of failure was high. But then he projected himself forward. He imagined himself at age 80, sitting on a rocking chair, looking back at his life. He asked himself, at age 80, will I regret leaving Wall Street? Will I regret missing out on a Christmas bonus? The answer was clearly no. Then he asked, at age 80, will I regret not participating in this thing called the internet that I thought was going to be a really big deal? The answer was a screaming, terrifying yes. He realized that the pain of failure weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. Failing at Amazon would have been an embarrassing footnote in his life. Not trying at Amazon would have been the defining tragedy of his existence. We need to apply this age 80 test to our own finances. Imagine you are 80 years old, you are sitting in a nursing home, your body is failing, your time is up. You are reviewing the ledger of your life. Do you think you will sit there and say, "Boy, I am really glad I kept that $10,000 in a savings account instead of buying Apple stock in 2005. I really dodged a bullet there"? Do you think you will say, "I am so proud that I stayed in that cubicle for 40 years because the dental benefits were adequate"? Of course not. You will look back at the safety you clung to, and you will see it for what it truly was. A cage. A cage you built yourself. A cage made of fear. The math of regret also involves the concept of tuition. Many people are afraid to take risks because they view failure as a total loss. If I start a business and it fails, I have wasted 2 years and $20,000. This is incorrect accounting. You did not waste it. You paid tuition. When you go to university, you pay $50,000 a year to sit in a lecture hall and listen to a professor who has never run a business tell you how to run a business. You graduate with a piece of paper and 0 skills. We call this education. But when you take $20,000 and start a real business, and you crash and burn, you learn marketing, you learn sales, you learn accounting, you learn psychology, you learn resilience. You learn more in 6 months of failure than you would in 4 years of success in a classroom. That loss is not a loss. It is an investment in your own human capital. The risk wasn't risky at all, because even in the worst-case scenario, you come out smarter, tougher, and more capable than the person who never left the couch. The only true zero is doing nothing. Let's talk about the timeline. The calculation of risk changes as you age, but probably not in the way you think. When you are young, in your 20s and 30s, your risk capacity is massive. You have time to recover. If you go bankrupt at 25, it is a funny story you tell at parties when you are 40. You have zero dependence. You have energy. You can sleep on a floor. This is the time to swing for the fences. This is the time to take the jobs with high equity and low salary. This is the time to put your money into volatile growth assets. But what do most young people do? They do the opposite. They are terrified. They want the safety of the corporation. They buy bonds. They hold cash. They act like they are 80 years old. They are wasting their greatest asset, their recoverability. As you get older, yes, you have more to lose. You have a family. You have a mortgage. But the math of regret actually gets sharper, because as you get older, the window of opportunity closes. The someday that you keep promising yourself gets shorter and shorter. There is a famous quote by a Danish philosopher named Søren Kierkegaard. He said, "Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom." What he meant was that the reason you feel sick when you think about taking a risk is not because it's dangerous. It's because you are standing on the edge of a cliff of infinite possibility. You are dizzy because you realize that your life is entirely in your hands. There is no script. There is no teacher to tell you the answer. That anxiety is not a stop sign. It is a compass. That fear you feel in your stomach, that is north. That is where you are supposed to go. The things that bore you do not make you anxious. The things that don't matter do not make you anxious. You are only anxious about the things that have the potential to transform you. If your financial plan doesn't make you a little bit nervous, it is probably too safe. If your career path doesn't make you a little bit dizzy, you are probably climbing the wrong ladder. Let's look at the safe path again. Let's really scrutinize it. Is it actually safe? In the Stone Age, the cave was safe. The herd was safe. But in the modern economy, the herd is the kill zone. Being an average employee in a massive corporation used to be safe. Now, with artificial intelligence, outsourcing, and automation, being an average employee is the riskiest position on the board. You are a cost center. You are a line item on a spreadsheet, waiting to be deleted by an algorithm. Holding cash used to be safe. But with inflation running at 3%, 4%, 5%, holding cash is a guaranteed mathematical loss. You are bleeding purchasing power every single second. The safe money under the mattress is being eaten by invisible moths. The safe path is a mirage. It is a slow death. It is the frog in the boiling water. You don't feel the heat until it is too late to jump. Taking the risk, buying the asset, starting the venture, learning the skills, actually the defensive move. It is the move that gives you ownership. It is the move that detaches your fate from the whims of a boss or a central bank. Risk is not gambling. Risk is seizing control. I want you to conduct a pre-mortem on your life. A post-mortem is what doctors do after a patient dies to figure out what went wrong. A pre-mortem is what you do before the patient dies to prevent it. Look at your current financial trajectory. Extrapolate it out for 20 years. If you change nothing, if you take no risks, if you stay on the comfortable path, where do you end up? Do you end up rich? Do you end up free? Or do you end up fine? Fine is the enemy. Fine is the waiting room for regret. If the answer is I end up fine but unfulfilled, then you are currently living out a tragedy. You are currently writing the first few chapters of a regret story. You need to introduce volatility into your system. You need to create positive black swans. You cannot win the lottery if you do not buy a ticket. And I don't mean the literal lottery. That is a tax on people who can't do math. I mean the lottery of life. You cannot get the 100x return if you are not invested in the asset class. You cannot get the massive promotion if you do not ask for it. You cannot build the empire if you do not lay the first brick. Every day you wait, the cost of entry goes up. The assets get more expensive. The competition gets smarter. The energy you have diminishes. There is a concept in option trading called theta decay. It implies that an option loses value as it gets closer to its expiration date. Time eats value. Your life is an option contract with an expiration date. Every morning you wake up, a little bit of your time value has decayed. A little bit of your potential has evaporated. If you hold that option until it expires without ever exercising it, it is worthless. The math of regret is simple subtraction. Take the person you could have become. Subtract the person you actually are. The result is your regret. For some people, that number is 0. They squeezed every ounce of potential out of their soul. They took the shots. They have scars. Yes. They have failures. Yes. But they have no what-ifs. For most people, that result is a massive, gaping chasm. A canyon of I should have, I could have, I would have. Do not let that be you. Stop calculating what you might lose if you try. Start calculating what you are definitely losing by staying still. The risk of action is limited. The risk of inaction is unlimited. The ghost of the person you could be is watching you right now. He is screaming at you. He is begging you to take the shot. He wants to exist. He wants to be real. Don't leave him in the realm of potential. Bring him into the realm of reality. Look at your bank account. Look at your career. Look at your portfolio. Where are you playing it safe? Where are you hiding? Identify the fear. Acknowledge the math. And then do the thing that makes you dizzy. Because on your deathbed, the dizziness will be gone. The fear will be gone. The money will be gone. The only thing that will remain is the story. Did you write a thriller? Or did you write a manual on how to stand in line? The pen is in your hand. The clock is ticking. The math is undeniable. I'm Brock. Calculate the risk. Take the shot. I'll see you in the next one.